Hey guys, I don't think you follow the charts much, but do you know that KSI is number 1?
Is it?
Really?
On Spotify? Or?
With Craig David.
That's nuts.
No,
Craig David and KSI are number 1 on the UK charts. It's awful. It's an awful song. It's a dreadful song. But that's how these things go, isn't it? Really Love, it's called. Oh, this is KSI's verse. So it's got a lot of time for the one that I'm watching. Amazon Prime, if you want to get something. That's enough. That's enough, isn't it? For that's
What was that?
Amazon Prime, if you want to get something. Why would you ever think that's a good line to put in a fucking song? It seems like you've just been paid off by Amazon in a very
Amazon
blatant
Prime.
and obvious way.
Yeah.
You just said something as well. It's so indiscriminate. It's something.
Jesus Christ.
Just the worst.
It would just take like a little bit more time to think of something a little bit more clever.
Yeah, it's because it rhymes with pumping. Where it says Amazon Prime, if you want to get something. No Valentine, but my heartbeat pumping. On holiday, I'm wanting this daily man's bait when he's wearing that paisley. Still great because my living now pays me. Don't cook, but my chef like Ainsley. It seems like a joke song, but that's number 1. Somewhere. Obsessed with the fitness, that booty got me moving with the stiffness. Praying that I finally get to hit this. Wrecking my balls, Miley. Making a storm, Kylie. He's not a lyricist, but he's done alright for himself, hasn't he?
no, he's not. No, he doesn't get to do it then.
I want
He doesn't get to do it then.
He's not.
No, that's not how the world works. That's not how the world
He's
works.
a very successful YouTuber, a very successful personality. I get all that, but he is not good at making music, and it's fucked up that you can then have this person thrust to the top of something where people are going to go, oh, it must be good if it's UK number 1, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
He's probably got an army of fans that have boosted his numbers for a start,
Yeah,
and it's not good music. Anyway, let's play some golf. I think that you kind of need to be judged on your catalog, right? Your depth of catalog, rather than whether or not you manage to achieve a couple of one-hit wonders. I don't think it qualifies you as a good musician if
Let's
you're going to
create
hit a couple of.
a new verse for KSI right now.
Oh.
So we'll take turns. I'll kick it off. Here we go. I am KSI, and I'm a guy.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm driving my car, I feel real fly. Are we just rhyming?
Right, we're rhyming with each other.
Or
Yeah.
Just
Okay. Right. I hear my own music. It makes me cry.
It didn't get number 1. Time to die.
sounds very final for that bit. Okay, there we go, birdie. Bam.
Still better than what KSI wrote.
Exactly.
Oh!
Was it a good shot? I don't get to see your shots.
Shit.
You have to describe it to me. Audio description, please.
Knocked it, hit the pole from outside the green.
Thing is, I think what you proved there, Trot, in that little creative process we had, which was really great workshopping that with you guys, was that these things take time and craft and ideas.
No, they don't. You can get number 1 without doing that.
Well, apparently you can, Trot, and that honestly just shits on thousands of years of musical culture. Is what it does, Trot.
Nah, it doesn't. Don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
There's still good music out there. Just
so
listen to that.
when do we just stop taking everything seriously, Trot? Is that what we do? Playing devil's advocate here. What if you stop caring about the quality of things?
I don't care about the charts like you don't.
No, it's true. I don't care about the charts, Trot.
So that's why
I do care for music though.
I still listen to good music. Yeah.
As an art, Trot.
Me
Same
too.
reason I don't like the fact that we're talking about taking poetry out of the English curriculum in schools.
We're not actively sabotaging the music industry. I listen
You're not,
to good
Trot,
music.
but is your apathy sabotaging the music industry, Trot, is my question. Is the lack of your attendance to your local HMV buying the latest records, has that, destroyed the music industry that you hope to one day break into as a famous rock star?
No, because that's old industry and they need to adapt. That's why Bandcamp exists.
And so when you see KSI as number 1, are you happy with the adaptations that have been performed?
Adaptations.
Fuck.
Yeah, because you said we need to
not-
adapt.
It's not a perfect system, but notoriously there have been awful songs in the charts for decades.
Oh yeah.
Are you
was
talking
it
about
Ketchup Girls?
bands such as Black Lace and the Ketchup Girls?
Yeah,
Last
it's
Ketchup
always
the
Girls.
Cheeky Girls,
Say it properly.
Last
No,
Ketchup.
Last Ketchup Girls were number one at one point.
gimmicks and shit like that.
I said
always.
a hey, ha, a hey.
Okay, tap this one on.
Come on, guys. Don't you remember that one? That was a good
Bob
one.
the Builder got number one. That's a good point.
Oh,
Bob
fuck
Builder
off.
did. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, but that's actually genuinely a
several
good song.
X Factor.
I posit the Bob the Builder
memories.
theme tune isn't a bad song.
Bob the Builder. Was it?
Baby
see,
Shark.
was that the theme he sang to win?
So I don't know whether it's you
Or
guys
was it
telling me this,
different?
but Baby Shark is the result of algorithmic processing of what children like when
Right.
music. So
Like condensed
so
down.
the people that wrote Baby Shark literally are a company that creates hundreds and hundreds of songs like that, and then
Right.
does audience research on children to see which are the most receptive.
Wow.
And Baby
refine
Shark
it.
was a result of that science.
Fuck, and look at it. It's insane.
Look at it. I'd rather listen to Baby Shark than KSI any day.
That's destroying the credibility of the music industry.
What, Baby Shark?
Well, just like the psychological.
Baby Shark's a theme tune to a children's show.
Was it a
yeah.
show? Or
So
is it?
you can
Doesn't
kind
matter
of
where
give
it
it a
comes
pass.
Why? Why
Well,
does that
because
make
it's
any
not-
difference?
Its primary purpose is not to contribute to the music industry. Its primary purpose is to be a song that's played whilst the intro credits are happening for a show
Well,
that they have
music
children
is
to watch.
music.
Oh well, you
at the
don't
end
think
of the
that you don't think they're playing?
So music is
poppin'
music. What is
down
music
in
though?
the clubs?
day.
They'll be
It-
playing that in the clubs.
From
Baby
your-
Well, it'll bang. It'll
Shark.
bang in the clubs. It'll bang
Yeah,
in the clubs, like definitely. But
music
you know,
is-
people these days are so smacked up their head on Molly that they'll dance to anything.
Yeah, put Baby Shark to like a happy hardcore beat. You saw it.
Yeah, stick it at 140 beats per minute and bam.
But
Actually, to be honest, I don't think that sounds like more like an ecstasy night than an MDMA night. But you know,
It's
like,
the same thing.
I'm not keeping score.
going back to
Those
your
are the
point,
same
though,
things.
I don't
Go
think the music industry or the progression of music is affected in any way, because stuff like this is not going to be historical in that sense. It's a one and done, and KSI
Yeah, but
will have his moment.
Kendrick Lamar is not going to be a one and done. You know, like Kanye West, even though he's mental now, I will admit, is not going to be a one and done. These are people. Like, I mean, Kendrick Lamar is a good example because he's literally a poet, right? He's like a person that focuses on words and structure and rhyming.
Does he know it?
Yeah, and
like,
he'll be remembered
all this
for
sort of
that.
stuff.
And music will
Yeah.
be inspired by his acts. No one's going to be inspired by KSI as much, or will be able
They say
to
that
reach.
about Skrillex and stuff as well, or EDM.
What I'm saying
it's
is, music
not
is not
something that
affected
lasts.
by these people because no one really will want to or be able to recreate the KSI effect.
Well, I can't get it right.
Because ultimately, it doesn't come from his musical ability; it comes from his
Yeah.
popularity.
Right, yeah. Where does that stop,
Yes,
though, do you think?
see, no, but that's I think that's my point. That is my point. Is that like it should almost be judged differently because it's more about their ability to affect a person to buy their music than actually the music itself
Yeah, it's a
being.
marketing.
Oh, I see what you mean. So it's basically,
that's
if
the
you had
system.
like 1 billion followers, you could basically
Yeah.
get number one every week of,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah,
year
exactly.
if you had enough.
And I think that's wrong, Trot. I don't think that's. I think that they should be judged differently, and I don't think they are particularly.
Right.
That's down to
okay.
the.
That-
But that's
the
only going to
crux
get
of my
worse, though,
problem.
over time. Like,
But
as
that-
more
Well,
and
you
more,
say that
like,
there's still loads of great musicians
social
out there.
media. No, but like, as in, more and more social media, you know, people are getting bigger
Just-
and bigger, and, you know, it just takes a couple of jokey songs to take you that further.
I think it
Or
comes
even
down
not
to the.
jokey songs, just.
It comes down to the. I'm trying to think of the word where you filter through and make judgments on music and create a chart out of it. What's the word for that?
Curate.
Curate.
Ooh, it would be
It's
the,
down to
yeah.
the sources of curation and the individual going to those different sources. Like, you don't care about the charts. Most people don't. Apart from, I don't know who the fuck is going through the charts, but not us.
Yeah.
People who make radio stations.
Yeah.
People who listen to radio.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what it is. You know, music's not any different. Yeah, you could get richer by being the KSI, but, you know,
Well,
there's still...
I would never have known this until Ross told me about it.
Yeah.
So in a way, I blame Ross for degrading my opinion of the
Ooh,
music industry.
Yeah, that is my fault.
And also,
to be fair.
Ross, how do you feel about the fact that you will only be remembered for Silly Song?
It's a shame. I mean, maybe I should.
It is your. It's the
maybe I
number.
need to
It's your number
re-release
one.
Pixel Dust. I know. Maybe I should
that is your
re-release.
number one. You want to
Maybe I'll
re-release
have
it?
I'm gonna have to re-release it. Just change a couple of names. That's it. Just to get that one just down a little bit. But to be honest, no, it's something, isn't it? Something to remember.
It's a
remember by.
legacy. It's a legacy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think
What's happened to the? Is anybody else kind of just looking at a bush right now?
we're just waiting for
There
Ross
we go.
to finish. I think
Sorry, I was just finishing my last
when,
splash
when
shot,
you're
which
done
was
first,
a
you
really
just get
nice
nice
shot.
landscape shots. That's what you get. Don't get to see the other two playing. I think there's a human psyche thing where the older you get, the more you're unaccepting of change and new shit. I think.
You
Yeah,
become
probably.
more and more bigoted.
I think so. I think that's a genuine
Yeah.
thing. And while there are
Well,
arguments
yeah.
for, KSI not actually having any musical talent whatsoever and using his popularity
sure.
to do so, I think
There's enough
our
there.
appreciation of new music wanes over time, and we rather harken back to the days of when music used to be great, etc., etc. But then people of generation above us did the exact same fucking thing, and said that same stuff about the music that we like growing up.
Oh yeah.
So,
But then I don't think that quite accounts for the fact that new generations can get into old generations' music. You know that, like.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with what you're saying, Trot. Like there is definitely an element of that, but you like rock and roll. So do I. So do all of us, really.
I think
That
that's
was a fucking
the
amazing part I just did.
That's the cool thing about this social media and shit like that, and TikTok and whatnot, is bands that deserve recognition will come back.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The ones that actually have talent and really good catchy songs will have the ones that are shit and have their moment because of popularity and not musical talent. When people don't care about that individual anymore and it's just about the music, that shit will come back, and the music will stand on its own. Yeah. And that's what's important.
very true.
I think I'm of the thinking
true.
that like it winds me up because I of what I've seen of KSI and his online persona, I don't like him. Essentially, like of things I've heard, the things I've seen, I just don't think I would particularly like him as a person. And I think if he had
You're annoyed he's being
really good
rewarded
musical,
for that stuff.
yeah, almost like, because if he was really a really good musician, if he was a really great writer or something, I'd be like, look, the guy's a dick, but fucking hell,
Hands
he can
down.
write, you know?
Yeah.
It's like Kanye West. Like the guy is crazy. He needs help, but he can still produce incredibly well. He's still an amazing music producer. The stuff he comes up with is really clever, really interesting, right? I'm almost like, look, I like Kanye West music. I don't like Kanye West as a person. But with this, it's like, man, your music's not even. You're an asshole and your music's shit. but
that's
I mean, it
how
comes from a
you're-
place of hate, really.
You're
is what it
valuing
is.
him
It's quite
based
a
on the
bad
things
thing.
that you value yourself, though. You could argue that
Yeah.
someone really appreciates his business savvy and his hustle for getting where he is.
That's true. Yeah.
And respect
And taking
him for,
advantage of that, rather than just
like he
bowing down
became a
to
fucking boxer
pressure.
for a bit and did that and got into
Yeah.
but, you're respecting him for the values that you hold dear to you. But
No, it's very true. Very true. Yeah, and like I say, I'm not saying that. I'm trying not to come across as like this is fact. This is just the way I feel and the way I think, and that's kind of why I.
it is
But if you
frustrating.
feel annoyed about
I'm
this
saying.
now, he's basically like almost the first generation of big annoying YouTubers. And if you're annoyed at what they've been doing so far, just think how people are going to double down on that to get noticed next time.
Yeah,
there'll be fucking
that's why I want
MMA
to buy a house
fights
in
and
deepest,
goddess-
darkest Wales, Ross, and live like Radagast the Brown.
Of course.
Because I don't think I'm going to be able
With
to process
bird shit
that
all over
very
your
well.
I'm hoping for an
bird shit dribbling down my face.
Yeah.
I think it's totally unpredictable where it's going to go. However, I'm hoping for an anti-movement where
loads of aunts.
authenticity and nicety becomes the popularity. Where
That'd
this
be
whole
nice, wouldn't it?
brazen, false persona just gets a little wearisome, and people just kind of want to go back to nice, genuine stuff. I
guess it's
think
kind of
that
like how
wears thin,
clickbait
right?
was so big on YouTube, and then it kind of went back to, no, I just want to actually know what's in the fucking video,
Yeah,
so
it's
just tell me what's in the video.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I need to
it
learn how
flips
to
back
build
and
this
forth.
fucking cupboard.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
won't believe
Is this
what
a
I found
tutorial
in
or
the
not?
cupboard that I tried to build. Please,
Is it a
I just
tutorial?
wanna-
I mean, we've done it ourselves, but we don't necessarily do it as much anymore.
Yeah. Like,
We didn't-
but,
yeah.
So people saying like KSI really isn't a bad guy. Like he's just like loud and stuff. It's like it's not. I don't really believe in good and bad. I think people are capable of both things. It's more like the behaviors, the way that person behaves. Do you want that to become a role model for people? Do you like, and not just to focus on him, focus on lots of things, focus on myself as well. Like who's watching us? Like I don't even think about that, and sometimes it shocks me when I hear people who are watching us. And I think that's what I'm getting at. It's not that these people are necessarily bad people.
Like kids watch us.
Yeah. It's
right,
that. Do I want people on the whole to hold that person up and say this is a person that we should behave like? Because even if they're not a bad person, even if because of the things that they do are learnt things that they don't realize that being inappropriate towards women, which he has done in the past, is not a cool behavior. It's not a good thing. It's not like away the boys. And as a white man growing up in England, I've seen that culture, that lads culture, the same thing. You might have seen it on our stream recently from certain people. And I don't think that like that is okay.
Wait,
and
right,
it's not
okay.
about a person. It's not about being like a bad or a good person. I think people make mistakes, and the choices are influenced by all sorts of things. It's just about, do we really do we want to hold up these people? I think it takes a lot to want to hold somebody up like that. I think, and like Trot's saying, like
There's a
I'm hoping
responsibility.
that the culture changes a bit.
With platform comes responsibility. I think that's what Spider-Man's uncle said once.
It was a Spider-Man. He was talking about platforms and social
With
media.
great
wasn't he?
platform.
Big viewers.
I think he was on his deathbed, right? Yeah.
Uncle Pete.
Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben. I got his name.
Yeah.
But it's true.
He's got the sauces,
It's true.
the pack of sauces, right?
These people have like the platform and the opportunity to change a whole generation of people's mindset by their influence. And unfortunately, a lot of people, especially when you're young and impressionable and want to make a dent in the world and feel like you fit in, will mimic those that are popular, or at least, in order to not be
Because we've done the same thing. We've been on the receiving end of it growing up as kids.
Absolutely.
It's hard to work it out, isn't it?
Yeah, it's those assholes in school that gather the crowds because they're doing something fucking reckless and stupid that are now on, getting millions of views on YouTube to a much wider audience than their local school. Yeah.
I think that in a way is kind of where my guilt, I don't want to say guilt, but like where, oh man, is that going in? No, fuck, that could have been great. Where I kind of worry sometimes about like, man, really, you're a fan of me? Like, really? Why? Like, I'm not that great, and I guess sometimes, you say things or think things or do things and you're like, that isn't the best way to be. Like, I can be very angry and bigoted, and
I think that's good though.
I know role models aren't going to be flawless. It's just that is something that kind of weighs on me a bit.
That instant reaction of, really? Me? That's making me think retrospectively and reflect upon my actions and whether I can do anything better, knowing that responsibility now, rather than like...
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I think that's good because
true.
you're constantly honing that as to be like, I should pay attention and care about this sort of shit.
Yeah.
So that's a good mindset to have, I think.
Oh, you might have a little too
Despite
much.
your...
Yeah, no, I do appreciate more now that, we have a platform that we can hopefully purvey some good ideas and good feelings on.
I think, if anything, it's testament to the current world we live in as to how fallible the human mind is when certain people can say whatever the fuck they want and have such an influence on people even when they're not correct and they're lying. Just goes to show how gullible people can be and naive and just want to believe because everyone around them does, and they want to fit in. That's ultimately what it comes down to. And you can sway the masses.
You want to be right as well.
We used to be of a mind, I'm sure we've said it loads of times in the past, it's like our audience can think for themselves. But a lot of the times, a lot of people just want to take the path of least resistance and just go with the flow.
Yeah.
And sometimes
there's a reason those companies call anyone on social media influencers, because they know that that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Well, whoever's selling a product, that's what they want to do. They want to use them to influence their audience.
Yeah.
I hate that term because it just sounds so impersonal and just shit, but that's what
we're a commodity.
happens.
That's what we are.
Yeah, you're selling someone's product regardless of what you do with it.
Yeah, but it's true. I think I don't know whether it.
Oh, you
comes-
prick! I
just
just hit the flag.
We can all just be reduced to numbers, essentially.
Is a look at
My
our-
worry
in that
is-
respect.
My worry is everyone goes through this sort of state of mind, but it also means you also go through that asshole period where you are that asshole publicly, and then after like 5 or 6 years, you realize the error of your ways and start making amends for it. Is that always how influencers and content creators are going to be? Starting off doing stupid shit and then trying to make a difference after the fact?
I think there are some people that are worse than others, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't think we all face the same challenges. I think some people are like
6 under at the moment.
hugely problematic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And like, but it's also based on the audience, you know, like we have quite an aware audience, and you know, the Yogscast in general has probably more of a sort of socially conscious audience than say some Call of Duty YouTubers might. And it's not because that Call of Duty YouTuber is a particularly morally ambiguous person. It's just that they haven't even had the conversations or started thinking about those ideas yet, because
Yeah.
nobody around them has started thinking about them either.
Yeah.
I guess.
Or your bad actions are being encouraged by your audience. So you do it more.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're being validated for doing their bad actions and bad behavior. It's like, well, I'm earning more money than I ever have being this guy.
Yeah. Let's double
So-
down.
That must be true and correct than the right way to do things.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all kind of part of a bigger beast, really, than just the individual as well, I guess. You know, like
close.
where do those people grow up? What experiences is it that they have? Like, who are their people around them? A lot of the time, it does come down to people around you, though, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
whether or not you fall in with people who call out certain things, or
Follow
like
with the bad crowd.
make certain, but it is, and it's a real fucking rough roll of the dice, because it's not always your fault if you've kind of accidentally fallen in with the wrong crowd, you know, like.
Yeah. And essentially,
I know a bunch of, like, really
people
nice
just try to
guys at
fit in
school.
wherever they go, right? That's
Yeah
what you do. You just try to fit in with your friends. You try to fit in with whatever. But essentially, yeah, if somebody says something off color, like, you have to make sure that other people are maybe
They
on
know
board
that
before you
that's-
challenge
yeah,
those things. And you're like, oh shit,
yeah,
otherwise
exactly,
you could just ostracize yourself, and then you've lost a
Exactly.
load of mates. And
Yeah.
that's, yeah. So
I guess the hope
that's-
is-
And equally, I think it is important to remember that people say things and they don't actually mean the truly horrible intention behind them, you know.
it's more
Like-
just
like,
an edgelord making a dumb joke at an opportunity.
kind of, yeah, like you
Realistic
know,
time.
like when I was in secondary school, we always used to joke, well, not always, but like there was often jokes about taking the piss out of a certain form of criticism. So, you know, like oh god Christ, what would be an example? You know, like basically we would take the piss out of people that thought a certain way by pretending to be like that ourselves, you know, like
Right.
here, like, you know, like, oh, smoking, it's so cool, I want to, like, let's all smoke together, and like, you know, that kind of thing. Like, we would kind of, you know, there's that kind of humor. So it's really complicated to know whether or not a person actually believes in something, or they're just sort of emulating people who do to seem ignorant. Does that make I don't know, maybe that's just a weird thing that my friends did. I think people
I think
do
a
that
lot
on
of
the
it
whole.
comes out of deflection and own insecurities projected onto others, like that.
Yeah, we have no
Yeah.
idea what we're doing either, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
ultimately, but
Yeah.
by bringing that other person down and highlighting their problems and making them look bad, takes the attention off me and my
Yeah.
issues. It makes me seem better in comparison, I guess. But the positive hope is with social media in general and exposure to essentially the whole world. Maybe not because of algorithms kind of keeping you in your echo chambers, but still, that chance for people to fall into the wrong crowd without seeing at least a few other perspectives on things could maybe be lessened. Maybe.
Yeah.
Because you can see so many other people and their opinions on things. You'd hope that you just don't get influenced by that immediate circle around you. But maybe
we need
that's
to teach people, like, just open-mindedness
hopeful.
in general. I think just the approach of, I mean, it's quite funny because we were talking about obviously you changing your appearance quite quickly, and how that is essentially like it depends on your amount of open-mindedness. And
the
I think
acceptance.
the challenge with I think everyone knows that open-mindedness is kind of the new almost objective of most ways of thinking, open-mindedness is very important. And I think a lot of people, young people, everyone is realizing that we need to be more and more open-minded about things. But the cost of open-mindedness is feeling as though you don't have an opinion on anything. And I think people struggle with that.
Yeah. And also, I think it makes our job harder as all we have ever done is just take the piss out of each other. So I guess now we've got to kind of just definitely rein that in and not do that. Which
I think it's okay as long as we're all consenting within the environment.
But that's like that was our thing for pretty much our entire career. It's just been ripping on each other. So where's the limit?
I like to have opinions.
Where's the line?
Well. Yeah. So like for me, like politically and just opinions on like, you know, how we should all be living and all that sort of stuff. It feels it's complicated when you're constantly second guessing yourself because, you know, it's so hard to form an opinion on anything, and therefore you feel like you're not really participating. Sometimes because you feel like, well, I have no opinion on that. I have no opinion.
Or I'm not an expert, therefore, if I
I can't have an opinion on it.
Yeah,
and that is complicated.
I think it's still important to rib because ultimately all that's doing is
it's satire, really.
Yeah, it's
satire
also
is important.
It's diminishing like
there's got to be a line,
the
surely.
Seriousness of the whole ordeal. It's allowing you to get out your thoughts and opinions, but in a light-hearted and nice manner that won't be taken seriously. Obviously, if it's like, I don't know, if it's done with like ill intent, then that's different. Yeah. But if it's just like, that looks very different and silly right now. I think
that's a good way of putting it. Like, you know, it's okay to have opinions, but you should be ready to change if presented with new information. I try and do that all the time, but it's just like from a interpersonal and also from a perspective of trying to influence people's opinions, it's so hard to be able to be dynamic with new information whilst also trying to, you know, convince people of your way of thinking, right? So if it's like, I really, really think that nuclear power is genuinely quite a good thing. This is actually an opinion of mine. I think nuclear power is necessary in order to make a cleaner power and a cleaner future for us. I think nuclear power is a stepping stone we need to take because of, you know, energy density and its relative cleanness and things like that.
And the power output.
But as soon as somebody comes along and says, oh, actually, we found all of this other stuff that's actually really bad about nuclear power, I'll be like, fuck, well, I've just literally been spending, like, convincing people that it's a really great thing. And they're like, fuck, now I've got to eat humble pie. You know, there's something quite hard about accepting you're wrong or, you know, that kind of thing as well.
That's probably more, relevant now with the current political climate. Anyone who's... That's why people double down. Well, you know, in certain scenarios when someone looks like they literally should be held to rights to what they say, people are literally just ignoring it. Because they don't want to they don't want to be red-faced and be like, well, I've supported this person, but they've done all these horrible things, but I guess I gotta keep supporting them because I started saying this and I convinced some of my friends to follow that same person.
And I've gone to a Cirque du Soleil show about him.
And it's just like, well,
I revel in humility. I love it as a concept. It just shows such a strength in character to admit you're wrong and be willing to accept change. I really don't like anyone that doubles down and defends their point knowing it's futile. When they're brought a clear and obvious, like, no, this is the truth here, accept it. Anyone that backs into the corner and fights to the death for an absurd answer, I just lose respect for them. Versus the whole, you know what, I hold my hands up and I was wrong, and I'm willing to make amends for that. We don't really care about how much you invested in the previous opinion you had. It's all about the here and now and like how you're willing to change and adapt that shows integrity.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, If you can look at a situation and go, look, I believed in this before, but now it's fucked up. Hands held high, whatever.
It's almost like you say, Troy, you can believe the sort of the truthfulness of their opinions, as in you see them as a person that genuinely is a person trying to work out the answer rather than a person holding an opinion. Exactly. And that's admirable.
Yeah. That's worth far more to me. And when I hear their points in the future, I will give that a much higher value than someone else that's defended something else to the death and been figured out that they're wrong.
It's kind of like, I mean, I don't want to specifically name events, but I'm going to name an event like Brexit. Having conversations with someone who was kind of, I'm going to vote for it, like it's got all these pluses and this is what I believe in. I think, I saw the busing, that's great. And you think, okay, well, those are good things. But then the unfortunate side is none of that happened. It was a lie. You were lied to, but now you don't want to feel stupid. No one wants to feel stupid, or they don't want to feel like
So
they were
they'll
wrong.
find something
or,
else
You know,
to-
they'll find something minute
Yeah.
that can overwrite that other thing that they thought they could. They thought they were standing for. And yeah, but then there are some people who I've met who've been like, yeah, this fucked up. Like, can't believe they lied to us all, and they're now fucking us more with this other shit. And it's just like, well, yeah, I'm glad that you could say that.
This could be
But
algorithmic on
I don't
Reddit
know.
as well, but you've seen
Yeah.
the amount of like conversion voting election posts that have reached the
Oh,
top
right,
of
yeah.
Reddit, which is like, I have been a Republican
hard
in my family
yeah.
for generations, and I'm voting Biden. Like, I obviously don't
So
want to
hard
talk
to know
about
if they're
politics.
legit, though.
I know,
because it'd be
but,
so easy to
Yeah.
like. Yeah,
but it's
I
the
don't
fact that,
Astroturf.
regardless of that, it's more the fact
Yeah.
that people take to that so much more
Right.
than anything else. Like, of course I'm voting for the same thing I've been voting
They'll
for
look
the
at
whole
a second
thing.
opinion.
People
maybe, yeah.
prefer the conversion story of I've come around and I've seen the truth. And,
Oh, I
and
see what
been
you mean.
enlightened.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Because
regardless-
it's unusual, or because it's considered I guess that's considered the objective
humility
of
again.
left wingers trying to influence right wingers there
Yeah.
at the same time.
but it's also
Like,
like
I can imagine there are
But then it
right wing
brings up-
Facebook groups where they have left wingers coming over.
Yeah,
Which
but then it,
would
it
just
brings
be
up
an
the
insane-
ugliness of I was right, you were wrong, and like then like or
But it's not even the
anti-intellectualism, whatever, and
it's not even the politics. You
Yeah.
could swap any of
it's just the story itself.
yeah, it's the story itself of someone that has seen the error in their ways or actually done some fucking research and work to change their
Yeah.
opinion on something that people appreciate and respect.
Yeah,
I wonder how many left wingers have gone over to the right and right wingers have gone over to the left in those situations.
Don't know.
Like,
yeah, I don't know.
because Reddit's definitely a left wing website, right? Like,
Yeah, it's very liberal.
Yeah.
It might not have been
It
always,
is.
but I feel like they've tried to push it more left recently.
It feels quite liberal.
Not sure where this one's going to end up.
Oh,
I
shit,
again, I
sliced
don't
the
know if
living
that's just based
shit
on
out
my
of it.
user account and
Yeah.
the amount
Yeah,
of
it could be.
browsing
Yeah.
data it's got on me. Probably.
I try to use it logged out just so you get the like with most websites as well. I just don't. I'd rather it was just a blank page, nothing
And
to do
through
with
a
my
VPN.
information, and through a VPN, which
that's
occasionally
true, actually.
sponsored
Sorry.
by.
To amend, I wouldn't call the website left wing. Liberal or libertarian is probably a better word, because I find a lot of tech places are libertarian. Like pretty much all of Silicon Valley considers, I think, itself libertarian, because it doesn't consider itself left, as in like.
Isn't there like a right and left
socialist
libertarian? Because
Yes, there is. Yeah.
isn't Boris Johnson technically libertarian?
Yeah, so
Apparently.
libertarian is
Someone's
something that I
described
used to
himself as,
consider
anyway.
myself until I realised it's just completely impossible and stupid.
Oh man, I've wasted
Yeah,
a shot. there.
well, people who believe in like the free market and things like that kind of tend to go for libertarian ideals, because it's when you hear like Facebook and people like that saying, we just give people the tools, we don't actually do the bad things, which is true. But that's a very
It's the most
libertarian way of saying.
hands-off. Yeah, most
Exactly.
hands-off. Like I created the gun, but they're
Yeah.
using it against each other.
And
Ah.
I've created all these efficient tools to load it for you and point it at whoever you
Yeah.
want. All you have
Yeah,
to do is
Smart
just
gun.
It's a complicated thing, but it's a very popular concept
Yeah.
for websites that don't like the idea of
But
being
that's it.
responsible for
That's
things being
the-
perpetrated on their software.
That's the guns don't kill people. People do.
People kill people, and
People
this is
kill
it. And for sure, Ross, and this is why I was like,
Yeah.
I'm pro-gun. I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
people should be allowed to own firearms.
Sure, yeah.
But equally, the more and more I see how fucked up the world is getting, I'm like, look, libertarianism is a really nice idea, and I also really would, I like in an ideal world where you can trust everybody to own a gun responsibly, but you just can't, and we
Yeah.
can't. You cannot, think that people are just lied to so frequently on such a large scale that we cannot trust ourselves almost.
Are there there are licenses though for guns, right?
Yeah.
Is it the same? Is it as intricate as a driving license though? As in, like, do you have
So
to
in
do
the
shitless
UK
of theory
to
and
own-
then tests for fucking months and then?
So there are two
Shipping it.
different things you can own in the UK. You can own a shotgun or you can own a firearm. There are two licenses for it, both of which require you to have lock boxes bolted to the floor and all sorts of other things that you keep them in. Both of them require a special police person to come round and interview you. It's quite a complicated process in comparison to, say, some states in the US where you can literally go and buy a gun the same day and walk out with it and not have any real checks done on you.
Need some bread,
but-
some milk, and a gun.
Yeah,
sure.
And
Right.
you know, like logically, like that makes sense. Why shouldn't a person be allowed to buy anything that people make? You know, why should a government restrict you from doing anything? But I just don't know if we can be trusted as people to not fuck all this up is the thing. And so some good old socialist authoritarianism might sort us out. We just need to find the right person, guys. It'll be fine. There's no answers. Like, I'm not saying that that's the case. I don't want people to go, fucking hell, Smith's gone fully Russian. But like, we need a new form of government. None of this is working. Thank you for watching golf today.
Yes.
We really enjoyed this round we played.
I wonder if
been
this
hitting more
one.
than just balls.
Wonder if this one.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a video, I guess. We'll see.
Yeah, no, it doesn't need to be.
Doesn't need to be.
It's there.
Yeah, it
It's
depends
there.
if people just want escapism on our channel, I suppose, which, you know,
Indeed.
is fair enough if they do.
We'll ask Craig how hard it was to wank to.
Yeah.
If he says it was hard,
Yeah.
Only
we'll be
3
like,
in
"Look,
this one.
Leave it out.
Everything's a lot easier when we love each other, work together. Unity is the only thing that's going to save the planet. You know, like all those things.
Yeah.
It is really, really important. Like, as soon as we start talking about our feelings rather than our politics, we'll realize we've all got a lot more in common. I think as a 32-year-old man that's seen a lot of my little corner of the world, I think that unity is the most important thing we can aim for, and it's certainly a great resource in Stellaris. So
What if, though?
there's part of that as well.
What if I know it's meant to be wrapping up, but what if
Go
that unity, say we achieve this utopic state, right, where everyone is working together and it's all peaceful and shit, it gets boring. And
No, then we look to the stars, Trot. Then we look to our universe. Then we
Yeah,
look
but
to
what
all
if
the
there's
wondrous
this, like,
things we
go
can
for that
see when we work
moon water.
together.
do your senses and perceptions, because everything's relative, right? You start getting angry at the most mundane of things and start getting frustrated at the things that aren't quite
than the real
perfect
thing.
and peaceful. I mean, not to say that it's wrong. I mean, that's probably a far better way of living than war and shit. But like, is there always going to be an outlet for those primal human
We're bored, let's
fallacies?
do something crazy.
The
ultimately?
universe is infinite, Trot, as far as we're aware. So I would say yes. I would say that our
As long as we can
planet,
travel there,
our planet, our sun is probably only going to exist for about 10 billion years because of the nature of the sun it is, right?
Fuck,
We're
not got
about
long.
7 billion years through its lifetime, right?
Shit.
So if you think that we can get bored of the entire universe in the next 3 billion years before our species is wiped out by the heat death of, well, the sun expanding too much and absorbing the earth, then fine. But no, I don't think we would get bored, Trot. I think that if we all work together, all of our nations, all these different people, all these different ideas, all these resources, all these fantastic things, if we can get past stupid shit like religions made up 2,000 years ago, money and greed, then we could all come together and create, like, just imagine the shit we could do in our lifetimes, Trot. You might actually become an immortal computer,
I'd
man.
love that.
In our lifetimes, you might actually
not that.
orbit Mars and look down upon the surface of a new planet that you've never seen. Like,
That would be fantastic.
all,
I'm saying,
all of this division is fucking us up, basically.
but I think the division comes
We're go-
from some sort of biological and evolutionary thing, like an outlet, biological needs that our new modern age is not catering to. And therefore it's coming out and disrupting the system that we're trying to perfect, the peace. It's because our physical human body and our psychology and our makeup is ultimately designed for hunting
too basic?
and gathering.
No, it's
And then we need to sort that out.
Well, Trot, you look, for the future of humanity, there's the universe. For everything else, there's OnlyFans. How about that?
Good point. Good fucking point.
that's
And
good.
with that, thank you.